So welcome to the Edexcel Higher paper. It's the May-June 2023 and it's paper 1, and let's go for our non-calc walkthrough. So on this first question, not too good on my 0.15 times table, so let's instead do 146 divided by 15. So personally, I bus stop it. It's definitely going to go into decimals, maybe one decimal place, could be two. If you're not sure, make a note of the first few multiples of your 15 times table. 4 will be enough for starters. Here we go. 15 into 8. Nope. 15 into 84. Oh, we need another one. So 5 15s are 75. Count on from 75 to 84. Remainders 9. We need to add another 15 on. Add 10. Add 5. 15s into 96 goes 6 15s and 90. We have a remainder of 6. And there we go. In it goes. 15s into 60. 4 times. Job done. Next one, another bog standard fractions. One's always going to come up. This one's a takeaway. I'm a big fan of not trying to do 7 take away 2 for a shortcut. I prefer, simply for revision, all right, make them top heavy. So big times bottom is 56. Add the top. Big times bottom is 4. Add the top. Let's keep the eighths as eighths. Let's multiply here, top and bottom, by 4. And now we can just subtract the numerators. 39 over 8. Once it is a mixed number, how many times does 8 go into 39? It's not 5 times, 5 eighths, 40. So it's 4 with a remainder of 7. Or in other words, 4 and 7 eighths. On we go. Number 3, we've got a cube. Could draw it, but you should be well aware that it's got 6 sides. So let's divide it by 6. So each side is 25 centimeters squared. That means each side length is 5 centimeters, and the volume is 5 cubed. You probably know it, but if you don't, work it out. It'll be 125 centimeters cubed. Number 4, I get bored on these, so I've cheated. You know they're easy. Just make sure you get them exactly plotted correctly, get all your heights correct, and when it comes to a frequency polygon, make sure you plot your midpoints. You only use the upper boundaries for cumulative frequency. Number 5, nice bog standard Venn diagram. So odd numbers from 1 to 10. Don't worry about this stupid notation. So just count through them. 1 is odd and square. 2 is neither of them. 3 is only odd. 4 is only square. 5 is only odd. 6 is not any of them. 7 is odd. 8 isn't any of them. 9 is odd and square. 10 is neither of them. So find the probability of posh is the complement, all right, the complement of B. So that means outside of circle B. There are 3 numbers inside B. So that means we've got 7 out of 10 outside of B. Number 6, also cheated, because scatter graphs are pretty straightforward. When it says describe the relationship, it's given you 3 lines. It's not good enough. All right, it doesn't say describe the correlation. Correlation would just be positive. It's not asking for that. When it asks for you to describe the relationship, make sure to get in the words that feature on the axes. So you need to say things like the older the baby, the heavier it is, and so on. Alright, another baby, use a scatter diagraph. You need a line of best fit, try and balance it above and below. As you can see, my answer of 5.8, it's coming out just over 3, so I'm calling mine about 3.1. Mark scheme allows a bit either way. Number 7. It's non-calc, so the price of a holiday increases by 20%. Now, don't forget, the original is 100%. Alright, so you could go down the route of 120% and so on equals x plus. Too messy. 20% increase is £240. We'd like to have the exact amount, and the original is always 100%. So it's times by 5. That's all it wanted, not one to overcomplicate. Number 8, pressure force area with bells on. So you've got the formula. Let's see what it's given us. It's given us the volume. It's given us the height. It hasn't given us the area. But hold on. Volume divided by the height will give you the area of the circular base. In other words, 30. So it didn't give us the area, but it kind of did. So we've now got the area is 30. We've now got the force of 90. The pressure is force divided by area, 90 divided by 30. What a nice answer. On we go. Number 9, too easy. It basically says use the graphs to solve, and they've already plotted them. So, nice gift horse, only worth 1 mark. The x coordinate is 6. The y coordinate is -2. So number 10, we've got angles in a pentagon. So let's not forget, triangle is 180, quadrilateral is 360. These are 540. It tells you that ABC must be multiplied by 4 to get AED. So we call that x. We call that 4x. We've got 5 x's. 100, 200, 300, and 20, and 30, and 65. If we take away 365 from both sides, we get 175 left. 175 divided by 5, 3 5s are 15. So x is 35, but be careful, it doesn't want x, it wants AED. So we need to do 35 times 4, double it and double it to 70. So 140. Number 11, laws of indices. Let's work on the top bit first. So if you're squaring something, we need to square the 6. X to the 5 all squared, you multiply the powers. Y cubed, so again, multiply 3 by 2. We get y to the 6 on top. On the bottom, numbers first. 3 4s are 12. X squared times x to the 1. Add the powers. Y to the 7 times y to the -3. Add the powers. And now we tidy it up. Numbers first, 36 divided by 12. 10 take away 3 because divide means subtract the powers. X to the 7 and subtract 6. Take away 4. Whoa, it's y squared. On we go. Number 12, good old probability trees. Find the probability that Martha will lose at least one. So that's there, because she loses both. That's there, because it's lose-win. And that's there, because it's win-lose. So you could find the probabilities of each of those and add them all together. But when you're only wanting, I'd do 1 minus this. So top times top is 10. Bottom times bottom is 72. So probabilities of the other three is 1 minus all that. So 1 minus 10 over 72. 62 over 72. No need to simplify. Number 13. Y is directly proportional to X. When Y is 24, X is 1.5. To work out K, how many 1.5s go into 24? So a little bit of mental arithmetic, could go bus stop, etc. But 18 times 1.5 is 27. So a little bit of educated guesswork. So we need a number that when we multiply it by 1.5, we've got 12, it makes 18. So it's going to be 16. Because 16 times 1.5 means add on half. There you go. So we've got the formula y equals 16x. Work out y when x is 5. 16 fives, 80. There we go. Number 14, more laws of indices. So 4 to the power of n. Now 1 over 16. Where's the 4? 16 is 4 squared. But 1 over means a minus power. Next, we've got fractional powers. Now, I always like to say 5/3 is your power. Top number makes it bigger. Bottom number makes it smaller. Same here. Top number makes it bigger. Bottom number makes it smaller. Don't bother with a square. So what's the third root of 8? It's 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 cubed, 27. And as you do more work, it gets easier and easier. Number 15. Let's look at L1. The gradient of L1 is 2. Let's look at L2. But as you can see, it's not how we like it. So let's rearrange. Let's add 12 to both sides. Let's take away kx from both sides. Let's divide both sides by 6. Could tidy that up, but actually don't care because the question's all about finding k. Now, when lines are perpendicular, their gradients multiply together. We just take the number, the coefficient of x. They must multiply together to make -1. So the 2 and the 6 cancel. We treble both sides. Minus k equals -3. So k must equal 3. Number 16. Little bit wordy. Let's not get too far into it. It says 3/8 of the surface area is that. 3/8 is that. That means 1/8 divided by 3. 1/8 is 25 pi. So 8/8, the original, the whole shape, 8/8, 8/25s, 200 pi. That is the surface area of the whole sphere, which equals 4 pi r squared. We can we can get rid of the pi's. We can divide by 4. And now we square root. So the radius is the square root of 50. Square root of 50 is square root of 25 times the square root of 2, which is 5√2. But be careful, it wanted the diameter, so we need to double it. Let's make sure we fulfill the criteria. A is an integer, yep, whole number 10, and B is a prime number, yep, it's a 2. So number 17, one of the trickier types of rearranging. But let's just crack on. Let's times both sides by 5x plus 3. So we get 5xy plus 3y. And let's expand the brackets on top. 8x minus 28. To get x equals in your answer as you want it, you've got to isolate the x's. So either get them on the left, which is what I'm going to go for. If you opted on the right, it just means your answer will look the same, but will have all minuses and pluses interchanged. So I will take away 8x from both sides, and I will subtract 3y from both sides. So take the x out, 5y minus 8, and we're there, because the formula we're looking for will have the minus 28 minus 3y on top, and it will have the 5y minus 8, the brackets, on the bottom. On we go. Number 18 doesn't look like your standard simultaneous equations, but that's what it is. So I'm going to start off 7 carrots and 5 kilograms of tomatoes are 480. Now you've got this unusual situation here, so let's start thinking. So in other words, if I've got carrots, which has 5, how would I turn 5 into 9? Well, divide it by 5 makes 1, times it by 9. So if you did that to your carrots, you get your tomatoes. That's your second equation. So we go back up to here. 5 lots of t. The 5 and that 5 will cancel. Okay, so we just end up with the t disappearing, 9c left behind. We're now basically there. 16c equals 480. 48 divided by 16 is 3, so it's 30p. For tomatoes, take your 30, go to this equation or this equation. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to go to here, because all I need to do is say c is 30, divide by 5 is 6, times by 9, 54 pence. Number 19, the old permutations, combinations, but actually nice and easy for number 19. all your different ways. So it's 5 starters, 12 mains, and some desserts means 420 different ways. In other words, 5 12 is 60, 420 divided by 60. There are 7 possible desserts. So we've got functions for number 20. So to find the inverse function, most teachers will say start with y equals and just rearrange to make x the subject. So multiply both sides by 5, subtract 2, and opposite of square root, square. And the final stage is interchange your x's and y's. So where you see a y, write an x. Here, I've got a compound function. So you work your way inside out. You need to put the f function inside the g function. So let's start with the g function. Its f needs to go into it. Job done. Equals 3. So again, it's a whole lot of doing opposites. So times in both sides by 5. Subtract 2. Square both sides. Take away 4. Divide by 3. Easy when you know how, but do practice your BIDMAS in reverse. So number 21, we have nobody's favourite subject, circle theorems. Just to explain the first thing, you need to make sure you recognise we've got the angle at the centre. You halve it to get the angle at the edge, but that's over here this time. They always look weird when they're off centre. But that is the first circle theorem, and that's a tricky one to spot, that's 32. I'll let you write out the reason. The second circle theorem, and the final one, is that the radius meets the tangent at 90. The rest of the work is all about triangles. So these two angles are equal and opposite, and we can work out how big they are by doing 32 plus 51 is 83. So that has a size, they're both 97. We've now got two angles in this triangle. We can work out this one, 97 plus 64, that's 161, meaning that this little angle here is 19. But most importantly, we now know A to D to C is 90 degrees minus 19, or in other words, 71. So number 22, I think is bog standard 3D trig, but with a little bit of sneakiness to it, because don't forget it's non-calc, so there must be a way of doing because you want an angle, you'll need to, if you had a calc, press the shift and so on button. So I've marked on F to C, which is 13.6. I've marked on A to C, so we can see that the angle we want is there, and the 6.8 is here. Now, before I carry on, the thing to spot in this question, please notice the 6.8 doubles to give 13.6. They're double and half. So let's see what happens. So, the right angle's there. We've got opposite and hypotenuse. The angle is sine to the minus 1 of opposite over adjacent. How the heck do we do that without a calculator? I've already mentioned 6.8 doubles to 13.6. In other words, it's a half. It's your old friend that sine of 30 makes a half. That's why it's only for 2 marks. 23 brings double rationalising. So the first term, let's multiply top and bottom by 4 plus root 3. Oops. So on the top, 4 times 3 is 12. And root 3 times that is 3. Root 9, 3 times 3, 9. On the bottom, 4 fours are 16. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. You don't need to do the other loops because they all cancel out. So on the bottom, we get a 13. I'll turn to something else later on, but let's deal with the second term next. Times top and bottom by root 3. We're getting 2 root 3 over 3. Now to add or subtract fractions, you need the denominator to be the same. So let's take this bottom fraction, the second term in other words, and times top and bottom by 13. And let's take the first term and treble the top. Treble the bottom. We can now proceed to subtract. So we've got everything over 39, 36 root 3. Take away 26 root 3. We're left with 10 of them, and there's nothing to simplify with the 27. So for this one, we've got double, factorising, double, solving inequalities, whatever you want to think of it as. This first one, it's a difference of 2 squares. So it's 2x plus 5, and it's 2x minus 5. So the two solutions, the two critical values, are negative 2.5 and 2.5, and it would be between these answers because it's a less than 0. Second bit, I don't like factorising minus x squareds, so I'm going to multiply everything by negative 1. So all the signs change, but particularly the inequality changes. I also like that because, again, like the one above, I do prefer it when it's between the solutions. And you could use quadratic formula. You could even go completing a square, but no chance. Stick with factorising either by sight or the AC method, but I'll speed the process up. It's negative 4 and positive 3 because they multiply to make minus 12, and if you expand them, you get 9x minus 4x, but the AC method would just take you about a minute longer. So our solutions, or in other words, our critical values, are negative 3 up to the solution here is 1 1/3, or in other words, 4/3. So the set of values, it must satisfy both. So we should pick the highest of the lower limits. And the lowest of the higher limits. And because they both don't have an equals to, neither should we. So there's our answer for the set of values which satisfy both. So I hope that helps for paper 1. See you on paper 2.